Hi everyone, I hope you are well. I hope you have got home okay. Well, I've only just this minute got back from school actually, so been a bit of a race against time. But we're here, and we're here to celebrate utility software and all that it is. Please say hello in the comments. Hi Aditya, I hope all is well with you. Now let's have a look at this. I'm going to pop this one up there straight away. Let me move my camera to get rid of that nasty little thing there. There we go. The wonders of green screen. So while you are introducing yourself, tell me, this is a quick round of guess the question for you just to get you started. What is this question all about? They do love this sort of a question in the exam. So what is it that speeds up access? Who have we got? Hi, Hash Brown. I hope all is well. Good to hear from you. I hope you're doing well. Speeds up access to data. What is overclocking? We're kind of in the right sort of area. I've taken away half the clues here, so don't forget this is from a mark scheme. Hi Sergen, hope you're doing okay. Hope you're not driving yourself mad or anyone else too mad at home. See you soon. Hi Flynn. Oh, hang on, who have we got? We've got Bogdan. Hi Bogdan, thanks for coming. Great to see you. And we've got Flynn. Hi Flynn, hope all is well. So guess the question. I've taken away half the answers here. Any idea? What is it? What are they talking about? Speeds up access to data, can cause disk thrashing. That's the giveaway there. Disk thrashing. What do we think? Which decreases performance, because disk thrashing decreases performance. I've been mean here because I've taken away half the answers. Anyone got any idea? I shall put you out of your memory. Out of your memory? that's I've given away the answer. It's memory. What sort of memory is this question about? Something memory. That thrashing word, which would possibly get you a mark in the final exam. What is disk thrashing all about? What sort of memory could suffer from disk thrashing? Any ideas? Ooh, now we are on the right lines. I shall give you a party noise for your genius answer. And we have got Bogdan, who has talked about virtual memory, which again, I think a glockenspiel for you. And we'll go for Aditya again, who's talking about, where is he? Magnetic, that's outstanding. And we've got Sergen, who's talking about, you get a triangle, sorry. It's only because Liverpool beat Arsenal, I'm still sore about that, so we'll give you a triangle instead. Right, so, yes, this was a longer mark question, and the question was, explain why it would be more beneficial to get more RAM instead of relying on virtual memory. Because don't forget, once RAM runs out, then the secondary storage, as you said, Aditya, there's another bit of joy for you. Secondary storage is what is used instead of RAM. And using secondary storage instead of RAM is bad for it because it causes disk thrashing, because it's not designed to be written over repeatedly in the way that RAM is. Yes, it's designed to be written to and read from, but of course with RAM, it happens an awful lot. So RAM's designed with that in mind. Okay, good. So that's something that I've got a feeling they might get that one in the exam. So virtual memory, disk thrashing, don't forget the story that sits behind that. All right. So next thing on our list is this one, which I ask every single time, and I'm wondering whether or not you can get it this time. So we have got, let me set my clock, seeing as I've got it there. Hello, Sally Sacker. How are you? Thanks for coming. Brilliant. We've got quite a few in today. We've got, what have we got? We've got 20. We've got quite a few lurkers, which is fine. Don't have to get involved. Ooh, so hang on. We have got Hash Brown Gaming saying C is the ACC. Now that is wise because we have talked about that, and we've got Hash Brown Gaming. Let me give you a wonderful sound. You could have a ding. How's that? Hope that cheers up your day. Hash Brown Gaming is coming with B is MDR, and we know the M is going to be the memory, so that's pretty smart answer there. We've got Sergen who's saying that C is the accumulator. Okay. We've got Bogdan who's saying MAR, and don't forget the A. The A is the address, so this is looking good. And then we've got Sergen who's saying AMI. Janusz, hi Janusz, welcome. Janusz is saying MAR. We've got Sergen saying A is MAR. You guys, I think, have finally 3,500 years later, I think you've actually nailed this. Let me just show you the answers. This is a pickle of a question, right? But once you've got these ones sorted out, then doing the fetch, decode, execute cycle, we've got Jano, she's saying D is the program counter, spot on. Hi, Yusuf, thanks for coming, dear boy. Great to have you here. So this is, listen, the first two are quite easy, aren't they? Because the memory address register, it stores addresses. Now, the memory address register, don't forget, is the address that is being used. So once it's there, it gets used straight away. Whereas the program counter is pointing to the next address. So the memory address moves from the program counter into the MAR, and then the MAR is a location, and so whatever is in that location is put into the MDR. So the data from that memory location stored in the MAR goes into the MDR. It makes sense inside my head. I can understand why it's so difficult, because there are all these moving parts. I've made an animation, because I should get out more, and I will show you this next time, which kind of shows you how the fetch, decode, execute cycle works. But we're guaranteed this will be in the exam, because it always is. You know, you can't have a computer science exam without asking about the registers and about the CPU and what it does. What does the CPU do? It's the fetch, decode, execute cycle. Okay, so well done, guys. That is absolutely outstanding. I think I may be able to leave that one to rest. This one's a sneaky one we had before. Let me set the timer. Boop. Logical shifts. The problem is we all know what logical shifts do, but can we remember which way does what? That's a dreadful sentence. Doing a logical shift left does what to a binary number? So Hash Brown has come in with a solid B straight away. Any more takers? Any more takers? Hash Brown come in with B. We've got Aditya saying B. We've got Sergen saying B. We've got Ash, welcome, haha, to you, saying B. I'm not quite sure that's the answer. We should have added that one. We've got Flynn saying B. We've got Sally S saying B. And we've got CU. Don't know. Can't help you there. Shall we put you out of your misery? The answer is, drum roll, it's B. Outstanding. That is so good. Brilliant. Okay. Let's do one or two more of these. Have I got two more, I think? These are the rewinds. So again, logical shifts, because you guys, yeah, Yusuf, you were spot on, dear boy. That is outstanding. You can have a glockenspiel. All right. What else have we got here? We've got this one. Doing a 2-bit left logical shift has what effect? And this is one that people, I seem to remember, mucked up quite a lot last time. It's not easy, is it? It's an easy question for them to ask, though. Logical shift, what does it do? If you go left, does it divide by 2, multiply by 2, divide by 4, or multiply by 4? Let's have a look. We've got Aditya, who's come in B. We've got Bogdan with a difference of opinion coming in with D. Emad, hi Emad, hope all is well, coming in with a D. We've got Yusuf with B, splitting the field. Sergen with a D. All sorts of answers. Sally with a D. So, and what else? We've got Banujan. Hello Banujan, how are you? Thanks for coming. We've got Ash coming in with a D. All right, we've got also Flynn coming in with a D. God, a lot of voting here. This is frenetic. So shall we see what the answer is? The answer is, drum roll please, it's D, except my head is whoop, right in the way. There we go. It's a D. And I think most of you got there. Aditya didn't manage that one. Hang your head in shame, but you nearly get them all right. So even you are prone to getting the odd one wrong. So D was the answer. Most of you were actually there with that. That was really, really good. Tricky, isn't it? And it's one of those things that it's just hard to remember because it's a 50-50. So that's what it should have been. If you got that one wrong, go and check on it. All right, so we're into, well, do you know what? I think it'd be a little unkind to say that, but not that we're gloating about Aditya occasionally getting one wrong. It does happen. I did ask Aditya a question in class today, and he didn't know the answer, and there were gasps. So, but you listen, I'm counting on you to get a 9, so you better had to. Right, so what's it all about? Let's have a quick look at this topic. I know I always say it's an easy topic, but this one, it just involves going and learning lots of facts about what system software does. I think, ben oui, je peux parler français, mais je crois que pour ce soir, ça sera trop difficile de parler qu'en français parce que les autres, ils ne comprennent le français pas du tout, d'accord? So we'll leave it there. system software. I think that if we focus mainly on disk defragmentation, that's what we need to do. So you need to understand that computers. I wasn't insulting anyone. I quite assure you, it was all very, very pleasant. Are you talking to Ash? Okay, I just thought I'd show off by speaking French. Sorry about that. So, understanding that computers come bundled with utility software and they perform housekeeping tasks. And the purpose of the identity. So, putting this into English, the fact that computers have utility software, they often come bundled with it, and that they perform housekeeping tasks. And the second thing is what each of these, the tasks that each of these pieces of software performs, right? So that's what we need to focus on. All right. And we are going to focus on encryption, defragmentation, and data compression. Those are the three. Data compression, people tend to be good at. Encryption software, we did that work in class on, do you remember the BBC video I showed you with public key and private key encryption? That is the key thing. That sort of 2-minute video is fabulous. So go onto BBC Home and just search for encryption. I think it's on the second page of results. Really short video and it's brilliant. So that's what you need to know there. So let's get into utility software 1.5.2. So these are the key points. What does it do? Question mark. Utility programs, they help to maintain the system. And use that maintain rather than housekeeping, but housekeeping is sort of, that's a broader term for it. They may be included when the operating system is installed. So for example, disk defragmentation software is included, and it's something that you would do on a magnetic hard drive. You don't need to do it on a solid state drive. In fact, it'd be very bad for them. So they tend to be small apps and they've got a limited purpose and they carry out housekeeping tasks. So that is the what they do, and the fact that they come with operating systems. So whether you go for whichever flavor you go for, Windows, Linux or OS X or any other, they come with these sorts of tools. Right, this one. I think that defrag software is a question they ask many times and students generally muck it up because they don't actually understand how data is saved on a hard drive. So I think that's the most important thing. And once you get that, it's really easy. So if you think about a magnetic hard drive, it's like a spinning CD. Whoops, that's not a CD, it's a coaster that I've got, but it's about this size. It's a spinning platter and it spins like this. And you've got a little read-write needle, which, if you've ever seen let's try and get this right. If you've ever seen there's my read-write needle, it's my finger just there. And that's going to read and write the data on it, okay? So if you save something, it tries to find a free space on the hard drive as it spins. It finds a free space and then it writes the data to it. And obviously when you read data, it's got to find the right place and then it's got to read the data from it. So, which is why magnetic hard drives have moving parts, therefore they generate more heat, therefore they require more cooling, therefore they tend to be a bigger drain on battery life. We know that magnetic hard drives tend to have slower read-write speeds, they tend to be less robust than solid-state drives, and they tend to be less expensive. Right, how is data saved? No, it's not a housekeeping task. Okay, I agree, it's not, because it's not actually housekeeping at all, but it's the same sort of thing, okay? Maintaining the computer. You're just getting me back for calling you out on one question, be honest. So, when you save data, the key thing to remember is that, say for example, you're saving a JPEG image, right? So you're saving an image onto your hard drive. It's not stored in one chunk. The file will be split up into small blocks, literally blocks of data. And those blocks are not necessarily saved in a contiguous way. So the word contiguous is this idea of the blocks being saved next to each other. So because data is scattered all over a hard drive, you might find, here we go, this is my tool, you might find that some of the blocks are saved here, and some of the blocks are saved down here, and some of the blocks are saved up here. So therefore, they're not saved in a contiguous sort of linear way. Those blocks could be dotted all over the hard drive. And as long as the CPU knows where they are, with the indexing it does, it's like a telephone directory where the location of each of those blocks is stored, then you can open things. But the problem is that as the hard drive gets more and more full, you've got less and less space on it. So it takes longer to find a free space to save your data. Have you noticed how, as your hard drive becomes more and more full, your computer slows down so much? And that's because you're asking the read-write head to do so much, and you're asking it's got to find sometimes lots and lots of different places to open or save data. So therefore, if you save data in blocks across the hard drive in a non-contiguous way, that is what is called fragmentation. So you know fragments, if you smash something up, you break it down into fragments. So it's this idea of being broken into pieces, hence the blocks, okay? So if you want to get faster read-write speeds with magnetic storage, you can do defragmentation. And I think you're already ahead of me now. The defragmentation simply organizes the hard drives. I won't say housekeeping because it'll upset Aditya, but it organizes the hard drive so all the blocks are together. And therefore you get faster read-write speeds and you can open things more quickly. So that is that's the story of defragmentation. It is one of these things that students never quite understand. And I think it's because people assume that when you save a file, it's saved in one place. And indeed, when you look at your file storage, it looks really neat. But actually, it's not the way. Hi, Nick. How you doing? Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming along. So I'm hoping that makes some kind of sense. So if you've got these fragments, these blocks that are spread out all over your hard drive, if you put them together, it means that it's faster to open and to store data files, okay? So pretty much what you've got there, we've tried to narrow it down. So what you've got on the screen there is what you'd be expected to produce in an exam in paper 1 if they ask something about defragmentation. So that is it. I hope that makes sense. Defragging. They do love a bit of a defrag question. So try and get your head around that. And this will go on the website. We'll send it out to you, the PDF. Okay, compression software. Dead easy. We know that compression works by making things smaller. I use the example that when we've got too much stuff in the recycling bin, I pick up my son and put him in the recycling bin so he can squash things down. So that is the idea of compression. I'm sure it's not entirely against the law, but it works fairly well. So it's making things smaller. And you've got two flavors, two types of compression, lossless and lossy. Lossless means that you retain the original item exactly as it was. So you run an algorithm on the item, on the piece of data, to make it smaller. And we talked about runtime. So for example, if you've got an image, let's take this really boring image as an example, this pad here. You can see that one way that you could record this is to say, let's get it to the light's not shining in it. If you've got up here, you've got pixels, right? So we could say red pixel, 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 red pixel. Or you could say 10 red pixels or 30 red pixels, and it's going to save you a lot of space. But the problem is, you need to use your compression algorithm, your lossless algorithm to make it smaller. But in order to look at it again or to view it again, you will need to make it larger again. You'll need to uncompress it, decompress it. Okay, uncompress it is the word. All right. So that's lossless. Now think about this logically, right? If, say, for example, you've got a text file which has got an algorithm written on it, say a program, right? You would have to use lossless compression, because if you use lossy compression, it would mean throwing away some of the data. So if we look at JPEG, JPEG is a lossy algorithm for saving images. Just like MPEG-4 is a lossy algorithm for saving video files, right? So what happens is the algorithm gets rid of some of the data that you wouldn't really notice. So it still leaves the quality high enough, but not everything that was originally there is there. So MP3 is a good example. Apple use AAC, that's their lossless format for music. PNG, that is a lossless format. It supports transparency, another matter, but it's a lossless format. So first of all, you've got these two formats, and they could ask you a question based around, they asked a question a couple of years ago when they said about a text file, which algorithm would you use and why? And you would say, I would use a lossless algorithm because if you use a lossy algorithm, some of that text will be lost, which means that it would be useless. Equally, if they were asking about a video file, or they were asking about an audio file or an image, you can go for lossy algorithms, okay? So text, lossless, everything else lossy. Hope that makes sense. Why would you do it? This will be the second or third mark for this question. The advantage of using, of reducing the file size is that A, you can fit more files onto storage medium being your hard drive, and B, it can make data transmission quicker. It can make it easier to send it via email. The limit on an email attachment is about 10 meg, isn't it? 5, 10 meg, depending upon who your provider is. Thinking about it making it easier to stream. We've all tried streaming 4K video on YouTube, and it's a bit of a pain because it doesn't always work because you need really high, because you've got a lot of pixels flying around. So unless you have a very good signal, and unless you are paying for decent bandwidth, you might not actually get 4K. And that's why buying an 8K TV is a total waste of time, because actually people don't make stuff in 8K. But anyway, I digress. Compression software. Where are we? 51. I need to get a move on. I think that's easy. Where people lose marks on this one is by not thinking about... So, Yusuf, to answer that, no. So if you say, for example, if you have an image and you want to improve the quality, you can improve the quality using a process called interpolation, which is where, so for example, if you're in Photoshop and you physically need your image to be bigger because you want to use it for a, so you say you've got an image which is 6 inches by 6 inches and you want to make it 12 by 12, you can use a process called interpolation where it will guess which color would be there to make it bigger. And it can be quite effective. But if you want something to be scalable, you would actually use it as a vector graphic rather than bitmap, because vector graphics are based on lines rather than pixels. And of course, lines are totally scalable. So if you're making, I don't know, say like an Adidas advert, and you've got the Adidas logo, you would do that as a vector graphic because you can make it as big as you like because it's based on lines and not pixels, because pixels can't be stretched. And we've all done it where you stretch an image and it looks really blurry. So that's the effect. LZW compression. Yeah, it's another type of compression, which we can get into. But I'm kind of focusing on what's going to be in the exam. But if you're asking those questions, A-level computer science is your place to go. But there are all sorts of different compression algorithms, okay? And there are all sorts of different ways of compressing data. So that's basically it. Okay, they will write different algorithms for different purposes. All right, compression software, encryption. The mantra is it scrambles data to render it useless if intercepted. That's the first part. The bottom part, the middle part is you transform plain text. And you know what? I absolutely recommend that you should. All the people who are here doing this, who join in with this one, I would recommend that all of you guys, have a serious think about doing A-level, because I think you really enjoy it. Because let's face it, we're all here because we like to know how stuff works, because it is interesting. It's interesting to think about how things are working under the bonnet. Right, encryption. They're looking for a few key phrases. Scrambles data to render data useless if intercepted. The other thing that's not on there is that encryption is effective at mitigating against a man-in-the-middle attack or data interception. So data interception is where you've got person A sending it to person B, and someone between them tries to intercept the data using packet sniffing. You can get some packet sniffing software if you're a hacker, where you intercept the data, and if it's encrypted, then even if you do get hold of the data, you can't make sense of it because it's scrambled, okay? The key thing is, though, uses an algorithm to transform plain text to ciphertext. That plain text to ciphertext, the ciphertext is the scrambled text, the plain text is just plain text. So ciphertext is what you get when you scramble it. That phrase, algorithm to transform, I'd say transform plain text to ciphertext, that's what you need. And it uses the public key and private key. I've gone the wrong way. Like I say, go onto bbc.co.uk, go in the search bar, and type in encryption, I think on the second page of results, you get that BBC video. It's really short and it discusses public and private key encryption in more detail. You don't need to worry about asymmetrical encryption. Again, that's more A-level E, that's more degree standard. But for purposes of GCSE, it's understanding the plain text to ciphertext and the fact that you've got the public key and the private key. Okay, so that would get you a grade 9 if you were able to explain how that worked. And I know I always say this, but there'll be a question on encryption in the exam. There always is. Plain text to ciphertext. All right, what are we doing? 55. Oh, I've taken too long. Okay, so quiz time. Let's see how many of these we can get through. Let's crack on with the first one, which is a fragmented hard drive is one in which I shall set my timer and then ignore it and do nothing with it. So which of these do we think it is? A fragmented hard drive is one in which a hard disk drive that has been dropped and broken into lots of pieces. Ooh. Program instructions and data are spread across tracks and sectors on the hard drive. Aditya's in with his first answer. He's come in with a B. Swiftly followed by Bogdan with a B. Any more takers? Sergen, we're strong on the B. Got a lot of B customers here. Emad's a B. Oh, you're all looking quite B-ish. Yusuf's come in with a B. I think we should, and Flynn is B. Well, this is looking good. If it's not B, then I blame your teacher. Unfortunately, it's me. Let's see how you've done. Dun, dun, dun. The answer's B. You are all superstars. That is outstanding. You can have some applause. Hash Brown came in with B. That is also outstanding. Okay, next. 56. I'm going to finish on time, by the way. Whatever else, because life is too short. When a hard drive becomes fragmented, reading and writing files becomes harder, no different, slower, or faster. Let's set the clock. Boop. So what do we think? It's A, harder. Writing files becomes harder. Writing files becomes harder. Hang on, we've got Hash Brown with B. We've got Aditya with A. Well, that was your last one, Hash Brown. Sorry. We've got Bogdan with A. We've got Hash Brown with D. Ooh, we've got Sally with A. We've got Hash Brown with D. We've got Flynn with A. We've got Ash with A. We've got Aditya. This has split the jury, as they say. So let's see what the answer is. Those of you who put A, I think that's also correct, because writing files becomes harder for the CPU because it's got to find it. But they're going to be looking for the fact that it's slower. That's the focus here. I think harder was a sensible answer, actually. So all of those of you who put A, I think that's a smart answer. But in the exam, they're looking for the fact that it is C because it's slower. But it is harder to do. So I think that's a smart answer. No different was a wrong answer. And yeah, it becomes slower. It's just harder to do. Okay, good. Where are we? 58, 2 minutes. Let's get through one or two more of these. If I can find the right place. Here we are. Okay, what about this one? Encryption does not prevent someone from intercepting a message. It only prevents them from being able to understand it. I use the word mitigation roughly 2,000 times whenever I'm trying to explain this, because mitigating is to limit, and to prevent is to stop. Oh, look at this. We've got Sally straight in with a B. First answer. We've got Aditya straight in with a B. We have got Bogdan in with an A. We've got Emad with a B. Encryption does not prevent someone from intercepting them. It only prevents them from being able to understand it. Emad had a B. I've done that. Aditya had an A. Ash had a B. This has split the jury again. And we've got Sergen, who's come in with a B. The answer is A. You can't stop someone from intercepting it, right? Because it's being sent from point A to point B across the ether. What you can do is make it harder for people to actually unscramble it and make sense of it. That's what encryption does. And you know that word mitigation, it limits the impact by meaning that if people do, even you, Aditya, even you, it just makes it harder to understand it, okay? So that's where it's all about, okay? And don't forget, when you've got this exam, you have got 1 minute per question. A lot of you have rushed the mocks when you do them and have lots of time left over at the end. When you've got the real thing, be more deliberate, because you've got enough time to go about it in a workmanlike, deliberate, measured way. A lot of you rush, and it's just, I know, misreading it is so easy, isn't it? It is difficult to do. We are almost there. Should we squeeze in one more question? It is 7 o'clock. Let's do one more. Encrypted messages are called what? A, B, or C? What do we think? Encrypted messages are called. Bogdan has said A. That was a very fast answer. You nailed that one. Should we just give him a round of applause straight away? Because Aditya has said A. Let me get onto the answer here. We've got Sergen who said A. We've got Sally, woo, who said A. We've got Ash who said A. You are all geniuses. Genii is actually the plural, if we're going to be accurate. That is outstanding. Hash Brown with an A. Emma, did I put you up there? Yeah, that's really good. So you guys have got this nailed. Right, it is 7 o'clock. Do you want to do one more? Lossy compression is usually performed on text when some original data is lost and the original file cannot be recreated. It's a mouthful. And the original file can be recreated from the compressed file. So this is about whether it remains. So when you use lossy compression, can you recreate the original file? Is it usually performed on text? What do we think? Now, I think Aditya came in a matter of seconds ago with B. That was your answer, I think, Aditya, wasn't it? Oh, with A. I take it all back. Usually performed on text. You were doing so well up to that point. We've got Hash Brown with B. We've got Sally with B. We've got Aditya. Oh, A and B. What did it say? A, B, and C. I mean, come on. How many answers do you want? We've got Ash who's coming with an A. Should we have a look? And then I think we'll call it a day. We've got Sergen who's coming with a B. I've gone over time, which is against what I said I'd do. We've got MAB with a B. So listen, lossy compression, some of the original data is lost. So don't forget, lossless you would use with text, everything else lossy, because some of the data is thrown away. But the file is good enough, high enough quality, so that it still can be used. Okay, and that was that. So I think that we should probably, that's a repeat, isn't it? I think that we should probably call it a day there, because otherwise I'm cutting into your evening, and that is not fair. By the way, JPEG is, get your answers and I'll tell you the answer. JPEG is good. I'm really glad that you liked it. I mean, do you know what? It's fun to do, and it's just, it is fun because it's interesting to see how things work, isn't it? So there we are. Listen, guys, next week, what am I doing next week? I think what am I doing next week? I can tell you. Hang on. Last page. What am I doing next week? I'm doing, ethical, legal, and environmental next week. Now, this is one. How can I put this subtly? I completely agree. How can I put this subtly? When you did your exam questions on ethical, legal, cultural, and environmental impact, the answers that you provided were, what's the teacher way of saying absolutely, shockingly, dreadfully awful? I don't know. So that's what we're going to do next week. Guys, have a lovely week. I'll see you all tomorrow. Be good. Catch you in a week's time. Well done, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.